there any tips or suggestions that you have for leaders who are struggling managing their team from a distance?
So that would depend on what the struggle is, right? So let's assume that yes, their teams are not engaged, or they're struggling with with motivation. So I would again go back to the what we talked about earlier: just over communicate and just have a real open conversation with the team about what the struggle is, and um, try and figure out a path to addressing that. So yeah, I mean, communicating over and above what is required, anticipating um, issues, or anticipate. Let's say there's a conflict between a couple of team members. Then what would you do offline that you can now do online? Maybe you talk to people, one on one, and try and resolve or manage conflict. That happens a lot. I mean, that's it is a bit challenging when you're trying to do that in a remote setting. But yeah, I think it all comes down to communication. And at the end of the day, I think that communication, whether you're working remotely or whether you're working on site, communication can resolve a lot of conflict. Communicate can resolve a lot of problems. And when I say communication, I mean leadership. I mean negotiation, persuasion, listening, empathy. All that comes under communication. And whether you're working on site or whether you're working remotely, all those things matter. And they matter much more when you work remotely because of the issues that we talked about, the lack of tone and increasing distance and so on and so forth. So I think that is what I would say in terms for leaders who are struggling with their remote team. And the other thing is, and this the team that I worked with, the first client that I mentioned, the virtual sales and customer service organization, they used to do a really nice. Used to have a nice way of making sure that they maintain the human touch and the connection. But that was a unique situation where all the members of their organization, they worked nearby, which is in the province of Ontario here, so in different cities. So that the team was spread out, and every once in a while, a couple of months, we would all get together and have like an offsite, or just get together at a restaurant or whatever, and connect and chat. So that's a nice touch. If you're able to do that, then you must, because again, bringing that human connection is so important. But if you're not able to do that, let's say your remote team is spread out across the world, don't just have a virtual meeting where you have 20 different people on a Zoom call, for example, and just because they're all spread across the world. That doesn't translate. A meeting of 20 people in a live setting is different from a meeting with 20 people in a Zoom setting. Even if it's 20 people and you're meeting, person to person, in person, people can talk to one another individually in that group itself, like get together and talk. But in a Zoom setting or a virtual setting, you can't do that. Like there'll be one person talking, and there'll be a few people who are just silent. So if you have a remote team that's spread out, then I would encourage more one-on-one communication, because then you can sort of really get to know the person and get to know what the issues are between if there's any conflict resolution that you have to do, and so on and so forth. So I think the overarching idea is to simply get together with people and again, empathize, communicate, listen, learn, and be honest and open, whether uh, whether your team is nearby or whether your team is spread out across the globe.